Ants are almost everywhere. But how ants evolved to take over the world is still a mystery. In a new study in journal Evolution Letters, scientists used a combination of fossils, DNA and data on the habitat preferences of modern species to piece together how ants and plants have co-evolved over past 60 million years. They found that when flowering plants spread from the forests, ants followed suit, starting the evolution of thousands of ant species living today. When you look at the world today, you can see that on almost every continent ants occupy all these different habitats, and even different sizes of these habitats. Some ants live underground, some live in the canopy of trees. Matthew Nelsen, a research scientist at the Field Museum in Chicago and lead author of the paper. We're trying to understand how they could have diversified to occupy all these different domains from a single common ancestor, he says. Scientists already knew that ants' flowering plants, or angiosperms, both appeared about 140 million years ago, and then became more common spread to new habitats. Nelsen and colleagues wanted to find evidence that the evolutionary pathways of the two groups are linked. To find this link, Nelsen and his co-authors compared the climates inhabited by 1,400 modern ant species, including temperature and precipitation data. They combined this information with a timescale reconstruction of the ant family tree, based on genetic information and ant fossils preserved in amber. Many ant behaviors, such as where they build nests and what habitats they live in, seem to be so deeply rooted in their species lineages that scientists can make pretty good guesses about the lives of prehistoric ants based on modern relatives. This data, when paired with similar information about plants, helped bring the world of the first ants into focus. About 60 million years ago, ants lived primarily in forests and built their nests underground. At this time, some plants in these forests have evolved to extract water vapor from tiny holes in their leaves, wetting the whole place much more so the environment is like a rainforest, says Nelsen. In this more humid environment, some ants began to move their nests from underground and into the trees. Some of the flowering plants living in these forests began to spread outward, gradually moving into drier regions and adapting to thrive in drier conditions. Nelsen and colleagues' work suggests that when flowering plants leave the forests, some ants follow. The plants may have provided an incentive in the form of food for the ants. Other scientists have shown that plants in these arid habitats develop ways to make food for ants, including things like elaiosomes, which are like fleshy appendages on seeds, says Nelsen. And when ants take seeds to get elaiosomes, they help disperse them, a win for parent plants. Demonstrating how plants help shape evolution and spread of ants is particularly important in light of the climate and biodiversity crises we face, researchers say. This study demonstrates the important role plants play in shaping ecosystems, says Nelsen. As we have seen historically, as a result of modern climate change, changes in plant communities can come sequentially and affect animals, other organisms that rely on these plants.